So this is the program in last class we are discussing about. Right. So here in this program, so there are the to apply listener. So there are multiple steps, like 3 steps. So on that we added the first step, that is just whatever the component we declared in XML. So that we defined here the button and text view, both we defined here this. Right. So then after here now second step. So after this set content view, here the second step. So the second step is to identify those components, because like button and TV both are the like unique names, like means we don't know exactly, like from that. So exactly we need to find out what is the name, what is the ID given on a XML. So that ID we need to identify here. So to do that here, now I'm clicking on button. So that is button equal to find view by ID. So I'm finding the element that is by ID. So that is r.id dot r.id dot. So what we given BT1. See what are the components we defined, that will automatically shown here. So that I'm selecting here BT1. Then after that TV equal to. So also I need to find out this also, because that also we need to use here, right? So that is TV equal to find view by ID. So that is r.id dot TV1. So both components we added here. This is like this, right? So this is the second step, means how many components are there, those we have to define here. So that is the second step. So then after here, the third step, that is step 3. So here now, so we used to apply listener or event to a this button, because as what we are expecting, so once user click on that particular button, so it should display some text. Defaultly now it is displaying hello world, but instead of hello world I want something else. So for that here now we are applying the listener. So that is button dot. So here we used to write question mark. So because in many places it is expecting the null pointer exception. So on those places we need to write the question mark. Even if you don't write, also it will show that it will itself ask, like I'll show you that now how happens. Let us say I don't know, here we used to give the question. So I remove that. So it is giving the error. So while put cursor here, so here it indicates here. So it will say that wait, it will show the error here. So it is expecting the explicit. So either you can add this, means it belongs to this local, or instead of that directly you can add this question mark, so that it will avoid a null pointer. It will add the from up like this. Done. So here what we are applying, set on click listener. By clicking that, it will perform something. So here the return type is, it is giving the view, only the view it is giving the return type. Right. So while clicking that, what we are expecting here, so I want to add some text, right? So TV dot, so set text. But here in our Kotlin, so set text, get text, set and get both are same. See here, from get text or set text both are same. So that's the reason if I give that also, it will take the text. Depends on the situation. It component itself can decide. So either it is set and getter. So now here I am writing here good morning. So good morning. Right. So now I'm running this. We will see here. There the text has changed or not. So we'll see. Meanwhile, I'll open the visor. So once it is run, then we will see output. Then after that, on top of this, we will discuss few more things. So those like we can use those many in our projects real time some places. Yeah, almost it is done. Now it is launching. Yeah, see it is done. So now once we click on this first text which should change, right? See, I'm clicking this. So it is displayed as good morning, right? So in case if I close this, even I can close from the recent and I'll open from here. See, now it is displaying hello world, hello world. But what is my requirement here is while opening the app, the text means the text should be empty. So it should not contain any text. So then what should I do? So for that here now, I can go here. Simply here, I can remove the content, right? Simply here, I can remove that. I can remove this text property. See, even if I put empty, it should be empty, or I can remove this property. So I'll remove that property. Now it is empty. If I remove this, if I run this, text will display or not. Even in case if it is like this also, the text will display. But while opening itself, it should look like some empty feeling will come here. Like let us see here in output, we will see. So, but I don't want like that. Here means what happens without any text, it should look like why the space, empty space. See, now it is launching. See, now we can say this is empty. But once I click, now looking wise it is okay. But before that, I want to occupy that space by the next components. So until user clicked on that design that space, because we are working for the low space devices like mobiles means it is a very low space. So whenever we are working for the low space devices, you should concentrate even in a one small distance also you need to think over on that. So that is the reason here I am applying one property called visible. So there is a property called visibility. So here visibility initially I'll put here gone. See now what happened? This space gone, it is hide. So when it is hide, that dynamically we should enable here. So here dynamically we should enable that. So here we should write tv dot text. So sorry, set visibility. So tv dot set visibility. Even here also set and get is the common. So it will come as the visibility equal to view dot visible. So view dot visible. Done. So view dot visible. Now I'm running this. So this visible and invisible property we will use in many places. Let us say I'm creating one job application or something survey kind of application. I'm building app. Let us say I'm building for the one cancer screening application. So when I'm building that cancer screening application, I should enable based on the type of the user. Let us first we will see this. See here. Good morning, like this. But I want to here like where we will use means like I'm doing one cancer screening application. On that application, based on the gender, So I used to enable some of the fields, like I am entering the female data. So I have to write some extra parameters. Then I want to male data. So I want to write some different parameters. In case female married, male married. So based on the conditions I'm enabling the different content. Let us say first I select female. So X, Y, Z, like 3 fields are extra. If I select male, these X, Y, Z fields are not needed. So then when I select the male, I can disable those, means I can hide those component. And when we select the female, then I can enable them. So those conditions, this visible and invisible property is majorly we use this. So, but this visible and invisible property, total we can specify in 3 different ways. Like one is the visible, other is the invisible, next is the gone. Like what is the difference between these three? We will see here now. So for the first button here, hello world, like here this I'm changing as visible. So I'm changing this as visible. Visible. Right. So then here I'm selecting one button. This button I'm completely selecting because I'll paste this button 2 more times. Total, we will see these 3 variants of this button. Right. So then I'm pasting here that button. So this I'll change as a 3, BT3. This is I'm changing as a gone. Right. So I'm applying this is the gone. And above button. So this is 2. So I'm changing this as a invisible. Instead of visible, I'm changing as a invisible. Right. Now I want to check other properties like that is so for these 2 buttons also we'll apply listener now. So let's click on this. Just the net system has correct. Yeah. So now this is in a Kotlin file, right? So in a Kotlin file, we used to write the properties. So what are the properties we used to write? So now we need to give the listener for 2 more buttons, right? So if I want to give that to 2 more buttons, so we used to write declare 2 more buttons, same process. So that is a var bt2 colon. So that is button, right? So I'm declaring the button. So we'll handle nullify condition, right? Next, so 1 more button. So that is var bt2 bt3. That is next button is the bt3. So just minutes. So here var bt3, right? Var bt3 colon. So that is button. Again, we'll handle here nullify condition, right? Then now same process. Like here, we need to identify those components here. So here we used to identify those buttons. So that is bt2 equal to find view by id. R dot id dot bt2. Right. Next BT3 equal to find view by ID dot ID dot BT3. Right. So similar, we will apply this listener for those components. Let us copy this and I'll paste again for here 2 times. Right, because next we have 2 components. So we will paste here. So this I'm changing as a BT2. Right. So BT2, but for the second button, we had that as the invisible, right? So this text could not be, it is not needed. So this I'm changing as invisible. Invisible. Right. So this I'll change as, instead of this, I'll change this as a gone. Right. Here we will do this is the BT3. Here this I'm changing as a right. Right. So I'm running now. This we will see the output. So it is running. Once it is launched, we will see the output here now. Yeah, it is launching. See here now, there are 3 buttons. So first button, visible. Second button, invisible. Invisible means here only content is hide, but the space could not. See, gone means it can hide including the space. Visible means only we want to enable the only content can be disabled. Content can be disabled, but it could not be visible. That is like, see these 3 properties: visible, invisible, and gone. So 3 components we discussed here. It's like this, right? So now, hope this concept is clear. So this is the whatever the program we done. This is a basic program. So this is the basic program. So on top of this, we will write on a extra program that is here. So like we will write data binding. So because in a real time, we are using only the data binding concept. So that is the reason here for this program, we have to enable the data binding. Right. So to enable the data binding, there are small steps are there, because even in next program onwards also, each and every program I can go with the data binding only. So to enable data binding here, we'll touch one more extra thing here. This is a Gradle. Here in a Gradle, just click on Gradle. Here build.gradle module app. So in a module app, so both are same. This is project wise, this is module wise. So in the module app, here just click on this. So within a this Android. So I'm clicking this, right? This is started here and ended here. Bottom, just you can go. See, it is ended here. So before ended that, somewhere else, somewhere you can write. But I'm writing here after Kotlin options. So that is a data binding. So first of all, we will enable while loading this. I'll explain what is data binding. So this data binding concept as introduced in Java 8.0. Before that Java 8.0, there is no data binding concept. So that is introduced in 8.0. So what this data binding can do means, data binding can bind the data tightly and and it can avoid the null pointer exception. So already the Kotlin is having null safety. So on top of this, if we use this, it's completely, we can build null free exception app we can build. So that is the main concept of that. Here we are using this data binding. That's the like one step of data binding. But in this, there are similar other bindings are like the next level bindings also there, but that we will discuss on our coming sessions, right? Once we enable data binding here, like this, see, once I click here, we got an option sync now. Means the data binding related, that is a extra library. So that library we have to download into our project. So that's the reason once clicked on that, it is syncing, right? Once this syncing has done, we will go with the next step. Right here, syncing has done. So once this syncing has done, here it will show like this. So now here we have to add one thing in our XML file. So in XML, here we have to add one file, that is one small change. So the root element, we have to modify the root elements. So the root element means that is a parent. Whatever the parent it is created, right? Now the parent is here, linear layout. So before the linear layout, so we should add one thing that is called layout. So we used to add the layout here. Before that, so I'm going on the top here. So after this XML name and version, so here we need to add the layout. So that is the root element. Means whenever we use data binding, the root element is layout. So now this layout we can close after the linear layout. Right here. So I'm scrolling down, means after last element. So last element means that is a layout. So after the layout, we used to create, we used to close that. Right, it is gone. Right here, we need to close the this. Right. So once this closing has done, now we need to go to Kotlin file and we have to do. So just we added one line there and one line here, right? So what is the benefit of those two lines? See, let us see here now. As of now, we are created only one XML file and one Kotlin file. But whenever the more XML files and more Kotlin files are there, when you find view by ID, so this IDs will display here irrespective of the mapped XML. So for this main activity, the mapping XML is the activity underscore main. But if you won't use the data binding, this will come automatically irrespective of this. So that is the reason if I map with the data binding, only the specific elements will display here. So that is the main one advantage. And also here we will reduce lot of codes here. How many lines we will reduce here? Now we will see here. So just I'm adding one line instead of these parameters. I'm adding one line that is for the data binding. So I'm enabling here the binding. So I'm enabling here binding, that is where binding colon. So here we are declaring the activity binding. So the binding will always generate on the name of the XML. So what is the XML name? So XML name is here activity underscore main, right? So on the name of that XML main, it is generating here colon null. Means here question mark, we used to use the null. So that is a binding will be generated on the name of this. Right here we added the binding. This is like this, right? After this, now here we used to here. So we need one more modification here, so that for your reference purpose, I am keeping this code in a comment. So here I'll write the next line here. See how does we will write the next line here. So that is binding equal to, so that is data binding. So data binding. So data binding util. So data binding util dot set content view. So what is about set content view? That we have to write it. Set content view. So within this first parameter, we should call superclass. That is, this will define the our superclass main. So then here we need to write r dot layout dot activity main. What is the XML name? So that we have to map here. This. So that is activity underscore main. Right. Now, once we define here, see, these all are not required. So declaration is not required. Right. So I'm commenting this declaration. So this text view means here I'm reducing 4 lines of code here. Like similar in the bottom also, I'll reduce again the 4 lines of code here. So this is the 4 lines. And here also, I'm reducing the 4 lines here. So 4 lines. Here also it is 4 lines. So I reduce 4 lines. Now, so with these 4 lines done, now we need to import this by clicking the Alt Enter. We can import this. So data binding has imported, just a minute.
వద్దని అట్లా బాగుండాలి నువ్వు నాకు పని అని వినిపిస్తే అదే ఫ్రెండ్స్ కాబట్టి అట్లా బాగుంటది ఇంకోసారి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు వినిపించండి సరే
Yeah, sorry. So now here we are enabling, right? So once it is like that, so here what we need to do here is now. So just for your understandable, again, I'm commenting this line. So this line here, how we will write? See here, I want to find out the button, right? Button 1. So for that here now, I need to reference with this binding. So that is binding dot. So what is idea of that button? See, BT1. This is the button 1, right? So BT1 dot. So even here also it should be question mark and dot. So that is set on click listener. So set on click listener. So that's it. See, almost it is same, but just we are calling, that is instead of calling from this, here we are calling from here directly. So declaration, these 2 things are skipped. Now, like similar, I'll apply for the below comment. See here, I'll directly apply here. And that is binding dot tv1 dot text. Here also same binding dot binding dot TV1. Right. So next bottom. The bottom also I'll modify. So that is before this binding dot BT2. Right. So below here binding dot TV1 dot. So last one. So here this is binding dot BT3. So here binding dot TV1 dot. That's it. So now we will run this and we'll see this output. Now next next program onwards, each and every program we will discuss like this only with the data binding. So because everyone are use this only in projects, so that's the reason we are discussing about like this. See now. Yeah, almost it is launched. See now visible, invisible, gone. So everything is working fine. So like in this way, we will work this data binding. Right. So these all are the things about the button and text view. Right. So there are similar one more component. So that about that we will discuss here. Like after the button text view. So the next component here. Now the next component that I'm going to add here within a same activity here. So that is the checkbox. So the checkbox is also having the similar properties like button. So I'll copy this and I'll paste here this. So then I'll modify this as a checkbox. So checkbox is nothing but this is like where user has the multi-selection. Like user has to select here multiple things. So this is like here. I can change this text. It's also checkbox. So this is I'm changing as a check. So for this also it containing the text. So that is the reason. So properties are the same. Almost all the properties are same. Like because text. So this is like the gravity, padding, everything you can apply. If you remove this gravity, so the text will align the beside of that checkbox icon. Right, it will come there. So I think this is the gravity it is. So we need to remove this gravity. So I remove this gravity. So like this it will come. Right. Now for this we will apply listener. So I want to like this we will use the where user has to select multiple like the known language. So somewhere known language and what are your interest habits like this kind of whenever we have the multi selection. So the checkbox will help for this multi selection. So here now I'm applying the listener. So the similar kind of thing. I'm not writing anything new here. So that is binding dot checkbox. So that is the ID we given has the check, right? Check dot set. Here the listener will change because checkbox has two positions. One is the two states. One is the check, other is the unchecked. So that is the reason here now I'll add here unchecked change listener. So unchecked. So I'm applying the listener called unchecked change listener for this. So this has the return type as two things. One is the button view, like how is the view has came only for the above. Here along with the view, one more is coming, that is the each checked. So each checked will define here it is a true or false. Means if it is selected, it will give true. If it is not selected, it will give the false. So like here, that is the reason I'm adding the if else. So is checked. If is checked equal to true, I'm writing one condition, that is is checked equal to true. Right. So then here I'm adding this else I'll add something else here, right? So here I'm adding here, right? So here I'll set the same text binding dot so that is TV1 for the same text view dot text. So I'm setting the text here equal to, so this is the else, right? So I'm putting this unchecked here. Same if loop, I'll write this binding dot TV1 dot text equal to, here I'll put this check like this, right? So now I'll run this code, but before running here, now I have to show one thing here, like here, see, whatever is checked equal to true, I'm comparing here, it is showing some line below. If I over the cursor here, now it should show something like simplify the coding, minimize the coding like this, it will show some int here. So that is simplify Boolean expression. Simplify means in a Kotlin, here when what is the Boolean value is there, if I give that Boolean value directly, it will treat as a true condition. So that is the reason equal to true, no need to write here. This is in a Kotlin. That is a one more advantage here with this Kotlin. Means defaultly the first case will come. What is the Boolean value it is coming? If you put that, it will treat as a true value. Next else it goes to the negative value, that is a false value. Here now. Oh, one thing we need to write here because we already put the text we had gone, right? We need to write visible, otherwise we need to change this to TV2 instead of TV1. We will change to TV2. So that text will display here. Right, TV2. Done. I'm running this again. See now, checked, unchecked. So it is working like this. So this is about the checkbox. Whenever user has multi-selection, so this component we will use. Like similar, this kind of, there are two more components. Similar code. Code-wise, nothing will change. Small change will come. So what is that? We will see here. So again here. So there are similar two more components. I'll paste. Open. So this is the checkbox. It is done. Hello. Yeah. Yeah. Tell me. Yes. Yes. Okay. Okay. Oh, sure. I'll close this now. We'll continue.